Good morning. Happy Tuesday. We are in Hebrews chapter 10, and I want to read this for you. So, therefore, and again, this is the big pivot. We're crossing the Grand Canyon. It's not that all that's happened before this has been theology or reflection, and now everything's going to be application, but we've got a big application part coming. So, therefore, in light of everything we've been studying, in light of who Jesus is, he's better than the prophets and the angels. He's better than the Moses and the law. He's better than anything and everything. In light of that, since we have confidence to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus, by the new and living way that's opened, that he opened for us through the curtain that is his body. So the veil was torn in two. In light of what Jesus has done for us, since we have a great high priest over the house of God. Okay, so it's just summary. In light of that, and then we get four things. Let us draw near to God with a sincere heart in full assurance of faith. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess. Let us consider how we may spur one another towards love and good deeds, and let us not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing. So today, let us draw near to God. What does it mean to draw near to God? It's a simple question, but sometimes the simple questions, when we come back to them, are the most profound. How can you draw near to God? So in my journal this morning, I wrote, Lord, forgive me. I need to draw more immediately and passionately into your presence. I don't want to preach things I'm not living. And then I glanced up, and the day before I wrote, I'm feeling spiritually underwhelmed. So I'm coming back to this personally. Like, how do I was preaching yesterday on Revelation 3, the church in Sardis, and I was a little bit sort of convicted, like, okay, am I living this? And so I don't journal a lot, but I journal down a few things. And so how do we draw? How do I draw near to God? Well, look, it's the answers are simple, but I hope profound. Prayer. So in the morning, I try to pray on the way to the coffee pot, and sometimes we'll kneel down and pray the Lord's Prayer or something. I'm trying to start the conversation. I'm trying to remind myself to come fully into the presence of God. I come up to my office. I have some books that I will look at. So this is a book of devotions on the Psalms, and I usually start there in one of the Psalms. And then I go to just writing. I'm going through the Gospel of John, so I'm just writing out the Gospel of John, 10 verses at a time, and reflect a little bit on that. And I sit and I just let my heart, I'm scribbling thoughts down. I'm just trying to calm my heart, let my mind slow down, not be thinking of all the things I've got to do at that moment, and just sort of, I want to hear from God. I want to be open to hearing from God. And then I journal a little bit. So not a lot, but I scribble down some thoughts, and it's part of that reflection. And then there's other things that I read. There's a couple online devotions that I'll look at. I've got this book that I was given to review. It's called 40 Days on Being a 3. So I'm an Enneagram 3. No surprise. So I'm on day 3 of this. I don't know whether I like it or not. I'm trying to always work ahead on what I'm going to preach on, so I've got a couple commentaries on Revelation that I'm ahead on looking and trying to reflect on that. My world is not your world. Studying the Bible is sort of my day job, so I'm not expecting that you're doing all this. I've got some other things that I'm reading. We're going to be in Jonah. I'm still trying to figure out economics, so towards the end of it, I'm just actually starting to feel like economics and justice are there's more there than I've realized, and so I've got an hour and a half of reflection and study. I better get up early to do it, but I'm trying to quietly, consciously think, pray, read, reflect to start my day more fully in the presence of God, and sometimes that works really well, and sometimes it's an exercise in discipline, and there's going to have to be other things I'm going to have to do to jumpstart that. But in light of who Christ is, in light of the privilege of drawing near to God, I want to encourage you today to think, how can I today draw more fully into the presence of God? We'll talk tomorrow.